What is going on, ladies? This is Marcia and Brittany here with another episode of the Ladystrong Fadecast. This is our last and final update of what's to be expected for you in the new studio at Geneva.
So the big question is this: how were two women who didn't cheat and purchase a gym franchise model, how were they able to spread their mission and purpose by empowering and transforming hundreds of women's lives through fitness, nutrition, mindset, and accountability with a micro gym business model of women only? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. We are Ladystrong Fitness.
Brittany, shall we?
Yeah, you shall.
Because you can tell we are in a different change of scenery. We're outside on the porch. Yeah, it's beautiful. The last episode we did was on Easter weekend, and now it is Memorial Day. It is actually Monday, Memorial Day. So this time I do have my handy dandy notes so we don't forget anything. So I'll start us off by just talking about we are officially 75% complete. I know. That is amazing. That is so exciting. I can't contain myself, seriously. But before we begin talking about all the fun things that we've been dying to share with you as far as grand openings and whatnot, I want to make sure to give credit where credit is due. And I have a laundry list here to shout every single person out who has helped with this project at Geneva, because everybody knows it takes the village to build a community. So that being said, by far, hands down, the most important people for this project are
Say your G's first.
yes, that too. Yes, thank you. Outside of him, Alexander and Alexander. I actually call him Alexander and Sasha. So I'm gonna just give you, I think it's important to share their story, and I'm gonna do a Cliff Notes version as fast as I can. So these gentlemen are from Ukraine, and they were over there when the whole country got attacked. Yeah, the war happened. They actually lost their homes, everything, and they moved to the States. They actually got funding from their country to come over to our country, and they literally started over from scratch. I actually found out about these guys, or got introduced to these guys on the project in Schaumburg over a year ago when we were doing the reveal for the semi-private. They did such a phenomenal job. It was a no-brainer for me to bring them on board on this project. So it was really nice to see like where they started and where they are now, and they're pretty much stuck with me. I tell Brittany, I call them my work husbands. So both of their names are actually Alexander, but in order for me to differentiate the two so they know when I call each other's name out, in Ukraine, Alexander is also Sasha. So I call one Alexander, one Sasha. So couldn't have done it without those guys. Also, I want to give out credit to Alexander for the glass company that we worked with, Andrew Sells from Prairie Plumbing, Chris ADG Signage for our exterior interior signage, Hassan, love that man. He's also my work husband. Done a lot of work for us for electrician work. Shayna, our designer, we actually worked with the designer as well. Alessandro for the glass company. I don't know if I said that or not. Travis Clock 9, he does all of our digital signage. Trisha with InBody, Kathy with Best Buy. We ordered huge bulk in electronics. The Chamber of Commerce, Robin, Patrick with Divine Signs in Schaumburg, John Banner Up, Armando with the quartz and countertops. I also have here Brittany. I have to give you credit where credit is due, because Brittany literally was my personal assistant this entire time. When shit hit the fan and I couldn't necessarily get to it, you were like my wing woman. I would call you. I'm like, I need your help. Please help me. And I feel like that was on a daily basis, essentially. So you were tackling like 3-4 different jobs at one time. So I don't think they know how much you played an integral role within this whole thing, and I could not have done it without you. So my personal assistants, Brittany. I also want to give credit where credit is due, is Jess and Ella. Funny story about these two ladies is that they learned with working with me on this project that they kept a tape measure at the front desk. So anytime I would ever call them, they would literally have a tape measure handy and readily available, because they knew I needed some sort of measurement when it came to something. So
Sort of being Ella's professional measuring service.
it was, yes. It was funny, yeah. So Jess and Ella, huge shout out. Also, Ella and Caitlin, if you guys don't know, they have an extensive background in marketing, advertising, and designing. So they've helped me with a lot of stuff in regards to that, from digital, interior, exterior, you name it. They've been my right-hand women as well. All the coaches for helping me with ideas for the room flow, layout for both group and PT. I also want to give credit to Will. I feel like him and I have a very dysfunctional relationship. Just I would say that just because Will is our lead production team in China, who literally he was my right hand man when it came to getting all of our equipment done. I think we were doing really well up until the tariffs. It really tested our relationship when the whole tariffs thing hit the fan. So thank you, Will, for everything that you've done. So that is, I'm sorry if I did fail to mention anyone.
Add a couple to your list.
Oh, you do have some.
Yeah, Acuro and Jim.
Oh my God, yes. Here, go ahead.
Shout out to Gail at Acuro.
Yes.
He actually came out and got our receiver set up for the heart rate monitor system over there. Jeff at Jim Lee,
Right.
I called him on the phone and immediately he had something set up for our avatar system over there. So those two have definitely also been extremely helpful in getting those things up and functional too.
For sure.
Yeah.
I know that was like a huge laundry list. And like I said, I'm sure there's probably others that we failed to mention, but thank you so much. You know who you are. And please, if we forgot, comment, say something. We'll make sure to get you a shout out there. So with that being said, let's talk about the equipment. So the last we spoke, it was still at 145% tariff. It is now at 30%, and that was about 2 weeks ago. As of, May 24th, which was last Friday, this last Friday, sorry, yes, 3 days ago, our equipment did ship. So, what's really cool about that is that we now have a lead time as far as the expectancy of when it will arrive in the Chicago port, which we'll talk about later. But before we do that, I think it's important to share with you guys what now that we found out that our equipment is now, I should say, on the ocean as we speak, we ended up running our paid advertisement, which is what I want Brittany to talk about. So, Brittany, if you want to talk about when we started that and what type of paid advertisement we're doing, and then from there you can talk about how many leads and stuff like that, reservations and stuff we have.
So, we started our advertising for our wait list last Wednesday, the 21st. So, shout out to our team at Lasso Marketing. Blake and Tommy really have been helping us get that set up because this is obviously really our true first like real pre-sale that we've been through like this. So, it's been really cool to have a marketing team that's been there to help us along the way and just make sure that we make the right decisions. Same thing with our business coach, Evan at Gym Builder, has just been such an integral part of us making sure that we are creating the best experience for our members and for our team. So, couple shout outs to them. So we started Wednesday. Day one, we had actually gotten 21 opt-ins to our.
What it is, what type of advertising it is.
So right now it's what we kind of call list gathering. Like it's an opportunity for people to join a wait list right now. So we have 30% off our founding member rates. That we'll be talking about here in a minute when it comes to selling founding memberships. So that was on Wednesday. So as of yesterday, I haven't checked today, but as of yesterday, we had 51 appointments booked in a matter of like 7 days. So the first week, so we'll start pre-sale June 9th. So, and I'll be doing one-on-one consultations from 9 to 7, Monday through Friday. Actually, 9 to 7, Monday through Thursday, and then 9 to 5 on Fridays. So pretty much the whole first week is booked at this point, and we're moving into the second week of booking. So it's been really exciting to see the reaction from the Geneva St. Charles community. We are also advertising out towards Elburn, North Aurora, West Chicago. So we kind of have like a little bit bigger radius, obviously, because it's a little bit more rural out here than it is in the suburbs. So it's just been really cool to see that. And then Jess actually made some pre-sale calls for me on Friday, and she booked 9 appointments that day alone. But she said every person that she booked was so excited to know that we were coming to the community, which makes me really happy because if you know anything about us at Ladystrong, all we want to do is impact. We just really want to impact every community that we come into in such a positive way. And I feel like that's exactly what we're going to be able to do. So
That is really exciting.
Yeah.
Just you talking about it gets me excited.
yeah, I'm pumped. So that's pretty much where we're at for advertising. But June 9th is when we start pre-sale founding membership sales. So, yep.
Yeah. Awesome. I think the projection is it's important to know. We have a goal set to at least be within the next when we start the pre-sales over the next 60 days to be at, our capacity of 150 to 200 members. So, just to paint a picture for you guys, because I don't want you guys to think when you come to class that nobody's not going to be there. That's clearly not the case. So, with that being said, now that our equipment is on the ocean, the equipment arrival date is June 20th. I repeat, June 20th.
Barring any complications on the sea.
Yes, that is yes. We are saying many, many prayers that yeah, it will arrive to the port safely. So with that being said, we do have to have pass customs. So we are expecting we're being very conservative as far as like the time it will take to pass customs, and we said 2 weeks. It may be sooner than that, but we're allowing ourselves enough time. So we're gonna say that it will hit customs or pass customs within 2 weeks after it hits the port on June 20th. So, now that we know all that, we do have a soft opening in place. Keep in mind this soft opening is strictly for Schaumburg women only. So, what the soft opening will entail, it will take place on Thursday, July 24th through the 26th, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. No Sundays. We have no Sunday classes at all at Geneva, and the reason for that is we're starting small. We cannot replicate what we currently have in Schaumburg until we get exactly the community that we have in Schaumburg. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it back over to Brittany. So I explain again, soft opening, again takes place on July 24th through the 26th, which is that Thursday through Saturday. Brittany, you're going to talk about the class schedule. You're also going to talk about booking classes through the app and logging in and what that entails and having access to book classes the week before soft opening.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so soft opening Thursday, Friday, Saturday of that week essentially is just going to be for Schaumburg members, like Marcia said. My body is a little bit challenging when it comes to having multiple locations that are like when you only have two of them, right? So like Orange Theory, F45, they have an enterprise set up with Mind Body because they have hundreds of locations. So they get a little bit more um features than we do with only two. So how it will work is you guys will have access to take classes in Geneva, but you will have to have separate profiles in both studios. It's just the way that MindBody works. Both studios will have their own branded apps as well. So you will have to log into Geneva's branded app versus Schaumburg. So it is a little bit of a pain in the butt, which we know, but small price to pay for being able to use your membership to both locations. So once we get closer, we're thinking 7 days out. So a week prior to the soft opening date, you guys will be able to access booking on the Geneva app, barring any complications, getting the branded app set up and everything like that. So once we get closer, we'll talk about the process of doing that. But just to give you an idea, you are going to have two separate accounts, two separate logins. Again, pain in the butt, but it is what it is. So that's that. Class schedule. So like Marcia said, we're going to start pretty small in Geneva. We are only running group classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday in Geneva. And then we're going to do our semi-privates on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And again, that's just to start. Now, if we get through pre-sale and we're booked, God willing, we will obviously add group on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well and semi-private on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But for now, we just want to kind of start small and see where we're at. So, but because of the soft opening on Thursday, we'll probably run group classes on Thursday for you guys specifically, just so you guys can come in on Thursday. So let's talk about schedule. So we're going to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday will be 5 a.m. Well, Monday, Wednesday will be 5 a.m., 6:30 a.m., 9:25 a.m., just like in Schaumburg. The evening classes will be 4:30 and 5:45 to start. So we'll have like kind of like that mid evening and then like kind of a little bit of a later evening after work class. And then Fridays we'll stop at noon. So Fridays we'll have a 5, 6:30, 9:25 at a noon, and then we're done. We will not have any Friday evening classes to start in Geneva. And that's just based on us doing some research in the area and other studios and what classes are popular at other gyms, just so that we could kind of figure that out. So that is essentially what the schedule will be. Saturdays, we haven't really solidified a Saturday schedule yet. We'll either do the 7 and the 8:15 or the 8:15 and the 9:30. That's still up for discussion at this point in time. We don't really have a Saturday set schedule just yet, but it'll only be 2 classes on Saturdays to start. So, yeah.
I don't know why that damn bird's bothering me. Like two birds are like fighting. They choose a fight right now. Like they're want their 1 minute of fame. Yeah. Anyway, Mother Nature. If you guys are wondering, check-in a class is the same as what you typically would do in Schaumburg, meaning when you come in, you normally check in using the app and you should be fine. I do want to address some things that we talked about previously, but it's been a while, especially if you haven't seen the last 2 episodes. We encourage you to go back, but if not, I want to re-update you on some of those things, one of which is equipment. Everything is pretty much the same. The layout's slightly different, which we'll talk about. We did introduce one more piece of equipment, which was the ski ergs to add to our stamina days. And just know that whatever we do to one location, like I mentioned in a previous episode, we'll also do the same in Schaumburg. It's just a matter of when and fitting the budget, but we gave ourselves at least a year's time. And it may be sooner than that, but we just want to make sure we, bear our gatherings and have things underway. So that is that as far as the equipment. We also have, let's talk about the layout of both the PT and the semi-private. Or excuse me, I said the same thing. The PT and the group. First and foremost is that the PT classes will not be available for the soft opening. We are only doing it for group only. Okay. No PT classes are being held in the soft opening at the Geneva location. I think that is fairly, we don't really necessarily need to work out any kinks there. It's got to be the group. So with the group class, the structure layout is obviously different than Schaumburg. And the reason for that is the capacity of space that we have is much bigger than the Schaumburg location. So again, there isn't any center aisles, or I should say center stations, where people are permanently working at for the entire 60 minutes. Everyone is located on the outside of the room, and that was intentional just based upon our experience. It's really hard for our coaches to maneuver in and out. We wanted to create a good group experience for you ladies. So we do have 22 stations that will be allocated throughout the layout of the room. So that is that. Outside of that, everything else remains the same. We still have our TVs, the digital screens, so you can see your heart rate monitor. Let's talk about that as well. Your heart rate monitor will not be added in the new Geneva location. That's something that maybe at a later date yeah, we'll have to discuss that. But for the soft opening, we will not have it. We just really want to work out the kinks and the group, the class flow and structure and things like that. So give us some grace. Please be patient with us. We would appreciate the feedback maybe after class is done, but this is why we do this. It kind of reminds me back in the day, way, way, way back in the day. I think I worked at Panera for like a week, and it was a new Panera. And I want to say this was well over like 15, 20 years ago. Anyway, to make a long story short, it was a brand new Panera location. And what we did when we did the soft opening, it was friends and family only. And it was just to work out the kinks. And this is no different. So we're hoping that there won't be much of any, but we won't know until we actually experience it. And classes may or may not be big because, again, we're only offering it to you guys only. So it might be a full class. It may not be a full class.
We also can fit 2 people at a station. Like,
Yes.
and our capacity is 44. Technically, if we want it to be, make sure to hear. Sorry. We can fit 2 people at each station in Geneva. So just to give you guys a heads up, this studio is 1,500 square feet bigger than our Schaumburg studio. So there is a ton of room in the group training area. So we can fit 2 people at each of these stations if needed. So technically full capacity is 44, but we have 22 total stations. So I just want to be clear on that. Like, we are able to fit and we will if needed. We have no problem making those classes a little bit bigger if we need them to be.
Well, it's funny when when you say that. When you say 44 and you think of Schaumburg, that's like when we have like our Battle of the Sexes and it's just packed.
Right.
But what's funny is that having 44 in that space in Geneva won't look as crammed. So now that we talked about the layout, the semi-private, going back to that, when we do offer the semi-private, we are able to do 1-on-6 versus 1-on-4, which is Schaumburg's 1-on-4. And the reason for that is you have an additional like 50 square foot of space, of working space, which can allow for more people. So that's really nice. The restroom update. Last we spoke, we were still waiting on permits. What's really awesome is that we are probably 2 weeks in to the plumbing. What has been done thus far is the piping has been rerouted. So that is officially done. They literally had to dig up all the concrete, all the dirt. That's all been like laid back out, realigned, all that's done. And now we're just waiting on the actual products themselves, which were on back order because the product that we chose and the colors that we chose aren't your typical standard colors. We are not going with your white toilets or white sinks. We're actually doing black. So those were a little bit harder to gain access to as opposed to your standard products. So we are having, like we said, 2 restrooms. Not only are they just 2 toilets and 2 sinks, it's also 2 showers as well. We find that that feature might be very beneficial in that area, so we are having that, especially with the recovery room and having the ice cold plunge and or barrels. It's mandatory that you do rinse off prior to getting in. So that leads us to the next thing to talk about is the recovery room. That will not be available for the soft opening. We're still going to be working out kinks in regards to that and making sure the water's at the right temperature, the chemicals, things of that nature, and that's going to take a lot more time than just having it up and going. So that won't be readily available for the soft opening, but it will for the original opening. So, Brittany, do you want to talk about the parking space, which is what's next, and how what that entails?
Yeah, I want to add something though. I want to just rewind back to the membership access. So Schaumburg members will have access to the group classes, but not semi-private, and here's why. They're only 6 to 1, so the Geneva members will need priority for the semi-private sessions. So if you are a semi-private member in Schaumburg, you cannot do the semi-private in Geneva and back and both ways, right? The only thing that's cross moving is your large group classes. So I just want to clear that up because I'm sure that's going to be a question that's going to get asked. And that's strictly just because of capacity. And we need to make sure that the Geneva ladies and the Schaumburg ladies, both you guys equally have access to those sessions because it is a higher premium service. And so we just don't want anybody taking away that access. So just clear that up. Okay, what do you want me to talk about?
The park.
Oh, the parking. Okay. All right. So parking. So we do share a parking lot with Mavis, Mavis Tire. So we have shout out to Brett. We love Brett at Mavis. They've been really gracious enough to just be like, you know what, if you guys need to bleed into our side of the parking lot, you guys totally can. But we do have free street parking. It's a literal 30-second walk from the gym. Like it's literally on the back side of the building, right by the baseball park. So you can just park along the street, walk across the crosswalk, and you're literally right in our parking lot. So there is street parking there too as well. So we should be fine on the parking side of things too. So yeah, that was parking pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the reason why we bring that up because excuse me, when we did sign our lease, it was only for 15 allocated spots because Mavis does have a due to them being a bigger corporation had worked out something. So it was just one of those things that was
Small price.
yeah, essentially. So
Live in Chicago, so
yeah, what was nice is that the parking around the other of the corner there, you actually
at times
you timed yourself and it took exactly 30 seconds. Because I was really worried. I'm like, what about winter time and this and that? And Bree's like, I'm just gonna time it because I thought it'd be like 2 minutes. She's like, it's actually 30 seconds. So I'm like, okay, that's fair. So just in case you guys are wondering,
you can't
um
walk that far if you have to park far away in Schaumburg.
that is true. Yes. So, last thing I have here, you guys are probably wondering, okay, it's great, soft opening and whatnot. When is the grand opening? So the grand opening, we have 2 dates for now, and here's why. We got to solidify some things just yet. We would prefer and would like to have it on Saturday, August 23rd. However, we need to check with the chamber because of the ribbon cutting and the mayor. More than likely, they probably will not be available on the weekend. So we do have a backup date if that is the case, which would be Friday, August 22nd. So again, we'll keep you guys updated with everything because we threw a lot of dates at you guys, but anything can change really quickly. Like for instance, something could happen and
These are not set.
yes, it is not set in stone, but these are just dates that we would prefer
Yes.
to have. As always, I think we've been keeping all communications open up until this point, so there's no reason why we will at a later date as well. So, is there anything that you would like to add?
Talk about staffing a little bit, just kind of where everybody's at. I think it's good for you guys to know what the plan is for the team because I think it's important. As you well know, we love our team. Like absolutely love them. They are the kind of people that every business owner would kill to have. They have the drive, they have the ambition, they have the excitement. They have really dove into the vision and the mission of Ladystrong, and I'm just so excited for them to continue to grow. If you know anything about Marcia and I, like not only is serving our members and our communities such a huge thing for us, but being able, if you know anything about the fitness industry and working in the fitness space, the taboo is or the kind of the stigma is that you can't have a full-time job in fitness. You have to train here and train there, or you have to have a full-time job somewhere else and do training. Like you just really, it's hard to make a living off of being in the fitness industry. And Marcia and I have worked so hard and will continue to work hard to break that stigma. And I feel like that's what we're doing with our team. So we are going to be shuffling some people around. Barring that they say yes to the jobs that they're being offered here in the next couple weeks. But we are planning to move Jess from studio manager in Schaumburg to studio manager in Geneva. Are planning to promote Ella to studio manager in Schaumburg. And then we will be moving Coach Caitlin to be the lead trainer in Geneva. And then we will be promoting Coach Christian to lead trainer in Schaumburg. We're also going to be bringing Allison on full time as well as kind of a training coordinator to help on the back end of some of the training stuff. And then Dawn and Christina will still be with us. There's some things that we're working in the works with somebody to come in to help us at the Schaumburg studio for some classes, but I don't want to speak too much about that yet, but there is something coming up there. And then we are planning to hire a couple part-time trainers in Geneva as well to help out. So our team is growing, which is exciting. And being able to promote people and move people around has been really exciting for us. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Total squirrel, but I think it's slightly important to share with our community is that I had the opportunity, shout out to George, he's our videographer and photographer. He's worked up with us on multiple projects. He had the opportunity to actually shadow me for the entire day. I don't know if that's a good choice of words. Shadow, is it? Okay. He did essentially, like, yes, it was a vlog. It was like a documentary. And I can't wait for him to finish up with those edits because there's a lot of things behind the scenes that people I wish would just understand because as a typical gym owner, there's like you said, there's a lot of different things you may or may not hear. And I just to be able to share our vlog and our story, I think it's just a whole different vibe than what you would see here, right? So shout out to George for that. But outside of that, Brittany, I don't know. I'm at awe. I just sometimes it's like, can you pinch me, please? Because I can't believe it's happening. I felt as though throughout this entire time it was going by really slow, and then when I look back, it's like, man, it's only been like we started March 13th, and it's been exactly 2 months, which is crazy. Yeah, so we will officially be open, like, it only took 4 months, which lets us know that, it's doesn't take much time at all. So we definitely have our poop in the group, but we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much for tuning in of this episode of the Ladystrong Fitcast, and we can't wait to see you on the other side. Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or whatever your favorite place is to listen to podcasts. And if you really liked this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.